All right. Condo Grayskull, episode 22.
22.
May 31st.
2D2, as my youngest son would say.
2 to 2.
2D2. Mm-hmm. And I thought about that the first time he said that, and Brandon quickly tried to correct him. He's like, "No, it's 22." And I thought, "Wait a minute, no, don't correct him." Because, I want Blake to retain, that sort of sweet, sweet ignorance,
Yeah.
But then I started thinking about it. I was like, well, he's four. Why would he say 2D2? But it makes sense because then, 33, 44, 66, it all, it's just that 60.
55?
So
Yeah,
2D2.
it's
Why
the
would
rime.
50? Yeah.
Yeah, they
Oh,
match
shit.
together.
And
That makes sense.
it totally made sense.
He's so logical. He's beyond. He's wise beyond his years.
Yeah, he's
Damn.
a deep thinker.
He's wise
Yeah.
beyond his ears.
Yeah,
I
that
know
too.
we've twisted some sayings before. So.
Episode 2D2.
Yeah, 2D2. Well, Mike Davis, Mike McCarl, Joe Friedrich, Colin Ziemer. Welcome.
We're here.
Thank you.
And this is weird because we're actually recording way early because we had scheduling conflicts actually for half the crew.
Yeah.
So, I was in the
out
sun
of
all
town.
day at my nephew's graduation, high school graduation,
Jeez.
which makes me feel old.
Jack, I knew him when he was in grade school,
Yeah, me too.
and now, right? Well, yes, right. But,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see him, but maybe once every few years.
Yeah.
If that.
Yeah.
And so, just to have that progression happen
Now this
to
guy's
what seems to
gonna
be
be going
like
to college.
just so
He's off
quickly.
to Cal Poly Pomona.
Oh, good for
Well,
him.
good for him. Congrats.
Nice.
And it was a weird feeling being at graduation because it made me kind of think of mine. And I made some changes in schools. My sophomore year, freshman year, I went to Alamany High School, and then I went to Simi High. And it was a decision I made because I wanted to be close. I wanted to have friends that were close. I actually went to like a formal with some of the people from my church that were going to see me high, and I was like, this is nice. I can hang out with people.
Right.
Because, it's just so much more accessible. I had always gone to schools in the valley. but-
Alamany sucked.
yeah.
Alamany
Well,
was terrible.
I mean, ultimately what I'm trying to get at is the point where, I mean, all those people knew each other from like kindergarten all the way to high school.
Yes.
And so,
At Simi?
yeah, I mean, most of them, some got split up depending on where they lived because some would go to Royal High.
Right.
But I just remember being at graduation and not really sinking in that I'm not going to see most of these people ever again.
Right.
And so that one guy in homeroom that I talked to every day that was cool that I ran into, it was like emotional because I was like, I don't have a relationship with you beyond homeroom, but I never will after this.
Right. Right.
And so there was a lot of realizations that day, and me being a feeling person, like it was just like over and over I was having these revelations like I'm not going to see these people.
Ever.
Yeah.
Again, yeah.
I mean, honestly, out of all the people in high school that I talked to, I only talked to one, and it's rarely.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Do you guys know of anyone that you went to high school with who has since passed away?
Several.
I mean, yeah.
Isn't that fucking
That-
weird?
Yeah, it's sad.
I mean, that progression, though, in general, just the normal life progression, thinking about beyond just death, I mean, more the celebrations like people getting married and
Sure,
having kids.
sure.
My first girlfriend has 4 kids.
Wow.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who?
Alicia Rye.
Oh.
Yeah, my first kiss. Yeah. Which I didn't have sex with her right away. In fact, I didn't have
As
sex
one
with
of
her at
those
all.
kids of
I
yours.
didn't have sex with her at all,
How old is her oldest?
Probably my age.
Jeez. Shit.
No, I'm not sure actually. I have her on Facebook. I could check
She was
it out.
a single mom when you were dating.
Yeah, so that stuff is weird too. I mean, you think about the death thing. That's kind of scary. But
Well,
yeah, the progression is weird.
Well, the reason I ask is because I can share the same sentiments that you just talked about, Joe. About having I went to a school or a high school that was way outside of the town that I lived in.
Yeah.
And so I had only started going there when I was a sophomore.
Mm-hmm.
So I had the last 3 years, like you said, they had all come up together through grade school all the way to the end.
Yeah.
And all the way to the end of the senior year.
Tight
and
unit.
So, yeah, and so the day after we graduated, there was some parties and everything. We all woke up the next morning with whoever we went to the party that I went
slept
to.
with.
Right. And we're sitting there eating at a restaurant and having breakfast, and I'm thinking, man, I'm never going to see any of these people again. Any. And
did you
know,
care?
as life, well,
Yeah.
I think it wasn't so much that I care, but it was just like
It's
Joe,
the
like Joe
realization.
said, it was like, man,
Weird.
you know,
It's a transition. I mean, okay, you don't care.
our
I get
paths
it,
our
but-
paths have converged for this short time, for me 3 years, and then all of a sudden now it's like we're all going in separate directions. Some people moved out of the country, other people stayed right where they were, but I was just talking to
Stay in that restaurant.
yeah, I was just talking to
Let's keep
some ate
let's
and
keep
then
it going, guys.
Filled
Come
out
on.
an application at that same restaurant. They're still there to this day. Right. Exactly.
I never left that restaurant.
but I was just talking to my manager, actually, who I work with. It turns out that we were in the same graduating class, and we were we had this quick 5-minute conversation, kind of reminiscing about who we had kept in touch with and who we had seen.
Cool,
and
bangarang.
And he talked to me, and he said, man, had you heard that so and so actually died?
Ugh.
And I just that.
Yeah.
I didn't know the guy too well, but I knew his name, and we had a couple classes together just in the 3 years that I was there, and that just the thought, I was like, man, that guy was my age, and I mean, it hasn't been that long since we've been out of high school, but I'm just thinking, like, God, man, his life is over, and
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
that's
weird.
just insane. Like,
It's weird.
I never thought, not once did I ever think in my, in my lamenting of I'm never going to see these people
Right.
again, is some of these people are going to be dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if we all did Myers-Briggs, which is a personality test to tell
Mm-hmm.
kind of what personalities we have, I bet Mike
I'd be,
and I would
I'd
have.
be Myers.
Well, yeah, Oscar Myers.
Yeah, probably.
No, but I think Mike and I would share a lot of the kind of empathy type stuff, so I can see where I'm coming from. While you guys would probably share maybe something different.
touch
It's just
of base.
personality.
I'm
So
a sympathetic and empathetic person, but
I feel you
only
are.
when it's justified.
Someone close to you.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, otherwise, I obviously I feel genuine
you're-
empathy and
Absolutely.
and
I'm not
whatnot,
really saying that. I guess I worded it wrong. I'm more saying, I don't know. I think more fantastically when I think about those things. I'll just go to the, in my imagination, I'll just go real far.
Well, there
with
was
it.
a couple guys that while we were going to high school, they died. They died like we were in
That
the same
happened.
class.
That I remember
knew
more.
them.
Jeez.
I
For me.
knew them, and they died. They were in a drunk driving accident.
Yeah.
This was like
God.
junior year or something, and they both of them died. I knew both of them, and that was interesting.
Yeah.
That was kind of chilling.
Yeah.
That's
No.
got to be tough too.
Yeah.
because then like if you have a class with them, then all of a sudden the seat is empty.
Yeah, sure,
And,
absolutely.
I mean, you have to continue on, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I had
Wow.
2 classmates that died in a helicopter accident or a private plane accident
Wow.
that were on my track team, and I hung out with both of them.
Wow.
So that was a really weird one.
Yeah.
So you know what? Speaking. Sorry,
I was
go
just
ahead.
going to say, kind of piggybacking on what you were saying about you're never going to see these people, and you have certain realizations at that moment. One interesting thing that happened to me was all throughout high school, I had a quarrel or a beef, whatever you want to call it, with this one kid, and freshman, sophomore, junior, senior year, it just was never resolved. We always had shit with each other. We always talked shit to each other, and on graduation day, we were in the same homeroom throughout every fucking year, and we just always hated each other. But so at the graduation ceremony, it's in alphabetical order. So we were seated next to each other, pretty close to each other, and we just got up and we're just like. We just kind of shook hands, hugged, and we're just like, it's like it doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah.
We kind of had it
That's
just kind of sunk in.
that's so
It was kind of
cool.
an interesting
Good
moment.
story.
So I found that kind of cool. Where it's just like it was so easy to make peace with the fact that this is high school, this is done. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Right.
Wow.
Right.
I wish I felt like that more throughout it, like and understood that. This is just a period of my life that is
A rough
to get
one,
to the
but
next
yeah.
point.
Right.
That it could be
I
ups
think-
and downs.
I think
but
at
it's like,
at that age though, you don't have that type of insight.
You don't.
though.
You
don't.
You know.
But something clicked right then and there for kind of both of us, and it was kind of
That's
a cool
cool.
moment, Yeah.
Well, speaking of high school, I want to kind of change. I mean, this is a great conversation. Obviously, a celebration for my nephew Jack graduating.
Absolutely.
But I think about high school and I think about a few funny things, and maybe you guys can join in on this. But do you guys ever remember kind of some inappropriate points in a teacher's like curriculum? So I'll give you an example. I'll give you an example, and it probably will be easy for you to remember or not. So I was in honors and okay, no. I'll go to my physical education class first. So the physical education usually teaches sex ed too. You know how they kind of combine the two? Have you ever had that?
Mine was a little bit different, but only because I think I went to a private religious school.
Yeah, okay.
So,
I mean, that was the case when I was in a private religious school, and then when I went to public, it was like a whole different class. So this teacher spent time talking about how tender the tissue is in the anus, and that no penis should be in there.
Wow.
Do not put a penis
Anal is off limits.
Yeah, and that's what he taught us that day.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was funny too because
It didn't
I remember
sink in though, did it?
no. Yeah.
Except
no,
in that tissue, it sunk in that tissue a little bit.
yeah, I got emotional. I needed a tissue. So no. Here's what I'm.
Teacher, I'm sad. I can't have anal.
Here's. No questions right now. I remember also it was, obviously when you get older, you become more open with what you're going to talk about. Like, you could say anything about yourself to your friends. Obviously, we're doing it right now. But I remember one day in that same class, a guy said, "Hey, Joe." I'm like, "What?" Because my name's Joe. I'm like, "What?" And he's like, "Hey, you masturbate?" And that's a crazy question.
What grade was this?
I think I was like 16 maybe. So I was like
Sophomore-ish?
sophomore. And I turn around and I'm like,
No.
and that would be my normal answer. And I'm like,
right.
Yeah, I do. He's like, cool. And everyone's like, cool. Hey, do you? And then everyone started like being like, yeah, I did, because I was the first to jump in the pool. So everyone's like, yeah, I jammed my D, and
Totally.
like,
In
yeah,
the
I diddle my V.
That's so funny.
So,
Well,
Hey, you want to meet up sometime?
yeah, do you want to jack off together sometime?
Let's compare notes.
Let's compare strokes.
Dutch rudder or whatever the fuck it is.
I think that's
Is that what it
definitely
was? The Dutch rudder? And,
Dutch rudder.
Is that where you jack each other off?
Well, it was in Zack and Miri Make a Porno.
Oh,
at the
I've
end,
never
wasn't
seen
it?
it.
I've
Where he
seen
like
it.
I
talks
don't
about
remember,
he's like you can grab his. He's like I'll hold my own dick, but then you move my arm for me or whatever.
That's very funny.
That's cool.
It requires a second party that I don't think has any business being there.
Especially a dude.
Well, I think it's funny that you mentioned that, but then Michael also touched on it, because your normal answer would be no. And I remember having those same exact kind of I don't want to even say conversations.
You're always
was
trying to
more
protect yourself.
Confrontations, yeah.
Right.
Like in the 5th and 6th grade, guys would be like that would be a point of making fun of you. It's like, oh yeah, well you probably touch yourself. Right? Yeah, like you probably jacked yourself off or something like that, and you're like, no, I don't.
Your mom does.
Yeah,
Dude, don't you wish you had those comebacks back then?
Yeah,
you gay lord.
Even when even when they all knew deep down they all did it, it was
Yeah.
like nobody wanted to admit it.
No, of course not.
Nobody wanted to
No.
admit it. And I remember, God, what was there was a conversation I remember in 6th grade. I think we were around the lunch table or something like that, and the conversation of
Must have been a small school.
The
It's just one
conversation of-
table.
no, my
All 15 of
one
us.
table in particular. This was the exclusive table, and the subject of semen came up.
Okay.
And
So-
it's,
As
People
it
in the
will,
Navy.
As it
Yeah.
will.
yeah, well, yes, and we're talking. I remember when my grandfather
In the
went to war.
Navy.
Yeah, cool.
But and someone had made a comment like, "Oh yeah, well, I heard it tastes like mint or something
Oh,
like that."
shit.
And
Oh,
somebody else is like,
God.
"Well, how would you know?" He's like, well, "I watch porno," and I just remember thinking, God, I mean, maybe you do, but dude, come on,
Yeah.
you probably have seen your own, and
Yeah,
maybe you
little taste test.
got a little experimentation with it, experimentative.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
even
You
a
put
word.
it in a few slides and you look at it in your microscope. People do that.
Dude,
So people do that.
I don't know
get
if
it.
I ever taste well, especially
Oh,
intentionally.
God, yeah.
I never did that, and that is God's honest truth.
Maybe it fired at my lip.
I don't know about that.
And I was like,
Oh, you guys are back in high school. You guys are being bitches. Absolutely, I've tried that. Absolutely, you guys are being such liars right now.
Yeah,
You know,
of all the things I've
I've
admitted on this
done
podcast
plenty of other disgusting things
so
Sure.
far,
probably
I
wouldn't
would. I would have no problem admitting that now.
Yeah.
But
I
that's
mean,
not something
obviously
I've
this
ever-
wasn't habit forming. You know, I was like, okay.
Right, no,
didn't-
yeah.
It was an acquired taste that you weren't ready to acquire.
It wasn't like
if-
eating your boogers or something. like
Yeah,
that.
you know, I
If-
just
if-
did it, and I was like, okay, cool.
If at some
Tastes
point
like mint.
I was ever going to try that,
Joe.
I'd probably spend a month eating a shit ton of pineapple first, though.
Yeah.
You know, just to-
Hey, if I'm going to try this, it better be
just to
the
try
best of the
it,
best,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
I mean, if it tastes anywhere close to how it smells, I do not want that. And
That's right.
And you
Kill
know-
two birds with one
yeah,
stone.
and speaking of that, I got to give it up to the ladies, you know, who don't mind helping a
Wow,
brother
would
out
you ever
with that.
give it up to some dudes?
And
too?
just the fact that, I mean, they do that, and a lot of people I know are cool with it. And they're like, dude, I like when my boyfriend, you know, when I can make him come like that, and it's all over me and my mouth and all. It's
Who talks like that?
To me-
I don't
Can
met
you
many
introduce
girls
me
like
to
that.
some
but-
of your
yeah,
friends,
seriously.
please?
Man.
I know.
You guys
know
are-
no one like that ever. In my
I've
fucking
met
life,
girls that
damn it.
are like will say that. Sure, like I love giving head. Sure, I've met girls like that.
I don't know.
But like when they get
my
real
in my
explicit,
dating years,
I'm
I
fucking
dated one girl in
jealous.
particular who was like, I love doing this for you, and I will anytime you want, I will do this.
why aren't
And
you still with
just
her?
you-
That's stupid.
Do you have her
long
number?
time
Do you have
ago.
her number?
So,
Or
no,
an
I
email
don't.
address? Anything?
That was a long
physical
time ago.
address?
No,
Beeper number or something.
yeah, right. I rolled pager number.
I think her name was Ariana, Adriana,
Oh,
or something. I
shit.
don't know. Yeah,
Damn.
yeah.
Oh,
so
boy.
that's funny. Yeah. Okay. So another one that happened was I was in honors anatomy, so we actually had cadavers.
So that is that opposed to non-honors anatomy, where it's
So anatomy was just
just
like
this is my
fetal
head, this is my
pigs.
shoulders, this is my tails.
Fetal pigs. Anatomy was frogs, fetal pigs, stuff like that. Honors, you got to work with the cadavers.
Wow.
So I think it was almost honors just because you made that decision to kind of do something that most people aren't comfortable
In
with.
high school.
In high school, and we were one of the
Wow.
few that had it. So we actually got a fresh one.
God.
The janitor was an old guy.
He had no
You know?
family.
Yeah.
He just died in the
killed
room
over
the
when
night
he found
before.
out that he couldn't have anal, and that semen tasted like mint.
Tasted his semen.
Yeah, he
Right.
tasted his semen. He
in
died
the-
from
in the
mint
fucking-
poisoning.
The janitorial closet.
No, but
Mint poisoning.
so he was
That
he
should
was
be our title for this week's podcast.
so
What? Mint semen?
Mint poisoning.
Mint poisoning.
so so anyways he was not cut into, and I was everyone was excited because actually the lady that was originally there was all cut up, and the gravity made it so that when you lifted her up, her butt and back and everything was just flat.
Okay, now I have a question real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you say the cadaver was fresh, how fresh does that have to be? Like, what's the
I
thread
mean,
for
what
fresh?
would be
Is
the
it like
fresh
Mentos?
makers?
Like, was it
yeah,
like-
I was
is it
just gonna
fucking
say, yeah.
Mentos?
Was
Yeah.
it like this? Okay, this person passed away or how died horrifically.
This guy died 5 hours ago.
Yeah,
Yeah,
2
exactly.
weeks ago.
Well, no, we were all in class, and then all of a sudden, out of this like little tube in the corner of the room, it just went, boom, and he just like landed on his desk.
A pneumatic
He's
tube?
like, whoa, fresh one.
It's like going to the bank. He just
Dive
like,
in, everyone.
opens
Yeah,
it up.
exactly. No, I mean it was a cadaver that obviously went through, got its paperwork and certificates.
Right,
I don't know how it works. I mean, and it just was one that was not cut into.
One that
Okay,
wasn't beat up
okay.
already.
So,
They're-
anyways,
they're
getting
are they
back to my
embalmed?
story. No. I mean, they put formaldehyde all over them and put them in a specific room.
So they're
to-
embalmed.
It's like a cold
I
room.
get. Well, isn't it embalmed when they take out their guts?
Embalming, I
Well,
think.
they remove the blood and fill it with formaldehyde.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
That's
so
embalming.
okay. Well, fair enough. Then I guess I don't know the definition of embalming. So yes, I suppose that's it.
I just assumed that what.
Yeah,
that's
that makes
how it
sense.
was, but
that
I
makes
didn't
sense.
know.
That makes sense.
You
So
know, you just cut into their fucking.
Mike's like, I don't know.
Blood.
I've never done that before.
I don't know. I don't have a room filled
think
with
that's-
people that have
Dexter.
embalmed or
I
anything.
watched a lot of Dexter.
That's how they used to mummify like pharaohs.
Yeah.
In ancient Egypt, they used
okay.
they would remove all of the insides and they would put them in certain jars, and everything got buried in with the
Yeah.
pharaoh, next to the sarcophagus, so that they would have all that stuff to get back when they moved on to the next life.
all their
early
possessions.
cryogenics.
Yeah.
So to get back to my story when it comes to just kind of inappropriate teaching, I remember him taking like a few people back into the cadaver room while other people were working, and it was in sections, it was in groups, and he picks up the penis and he says, "Ladies, just so you know, all the nerves are on the tip of the penis.
Oh, jeez. Wow.
So if you end up doing anything, in your, when you become sexual,
In your
focus on the
travels.
tip of the penis because that's where most of the nerves are.
That's just weird
What
for
the
that teacher
hell?
to
Now,
say that.
first off, this guy.
Weird?
That's weird.
No,
Beyond
okay.
fucking weird.
Here's
Yeah.
the thing, though. This teacher was incredible. And he was a great teacher. He was a great teacher, but that
he
was
knew
one of those.
just how to do it, right?
But he was a great teacher, and I learned so much. But at the same time, I thought about it, and I'm like, that is a weird comment.
Yes.
Really?
Because
Yeah.
you learn a lot, and you're like, okay, yeah, there's nerves in the penis. But when you really, really respect someone, and they say something, and it has some education to it, it kind of passes by, but you're like, that's kind of a weird
I think it would have
statement.
been
Yeah.
okay if you didn't single out the ladies.
Yeah.
It still makes
Yeah.
it inappropriate, but at least like, hey, lady, it's like
It was. I might have said it
Yeah.
slightly different, but it was. That's how I remember it.
He
Yeah.
said, hey, Joe,
Hey Joe.
Right.
all the
You seem
nerves
flexible
in your
or
penis
gay.
are right on the tip.
Hey.
Yeah, just so you know, all,
You're in
You made
honors.
so much eye.
You're in honors
all of the nerve
anatomy.
endings are
Yeah.
Do you want to stay in honors anatomy?
But I don't remember.
We're gonna have a pop quiz
Yeah,
later.
you're gonna be sucking on my pneumatic tube in no time. No, so no other time did he say anything weird, but that was just one that I was like, okay, he was educating people not only on where nerves are located,
Liberal.
but
I mean,
yeah, I suppose so.
I guess it's whatever.
I guess he was just addressing the reality that
Yeah,
most
that's-
high school kids
And-
are going to get their balls played with by a significant other. at
And that was
some
the
point,
funny
right?
thing because
So-
I was like, I
or
felt
tip.
That's the
as-
funny
as the
thing
case
is
may be
because
with this one.
as I was listening to him, I almost was like, this guy's kind of cool because he's like teaching people how to like give BJs or something.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, okay, here's like, hey, pro tip, work on this area.
Literally.
Anyways, let's go back to the liver.
This is literally a pro tip.
Yeah, so those are the two.
Jeez, yeah.
Those are the two like experiences I had in class where I was like,
didn't-
whoa.
Yeah, then nothing like that would ever happen in my school.
Yeah.
It took fucking nothing for a teacher to get
I
fired at
disagree
my
What
because
school-
you
what-
had that one teacher that was giving booze and going nuts. Was this all?
Wasn't that
Well,
with
this wasn't
graduates
at
though?
school, and yeah, it was
Yeah.
people that were out of the school already.
Okay.
There was, I do remember we had for whatever reason, I think a few of the students had inquired with one of the guys associated with the school who was a pastor at the church that the school was associated with, and him and our Bible teacher got together, and we ended up having a meeting one day for all the gentlemen in high school
Okay.
to get together and talk about masturbation. And because
Sure.
I guess like a lot of people were curious, like how God would feel about that, and I don't remember really much about that from the meeting we had, other than it being super awkward. But I do remember one part
Can
where
imagine that would be really awkward.
Okay,
one
guys,
part
pull
where
it out.
they were talking about
This is a banana.
they were talking
all the
kidding, it's my
nerve, all the nerves in the penis are right on the tip, gentlemen. So if
Oh,
you
he
really
had a
want to
few
please
jobs.
yourself,
Yeah.
if you want to be your own best friend,
Yeah. Just rub the tip. Sorry, go on.
No, at one point it just got down to brass tacks, and people were like, "Well, is it a sin?" And what the pastor had explained was basically that if you were able to masturbate without any like sexual
Any
fantasy,
improper thoughts?
going through your head, if you were able to masturbate thinking completely about, I think he used the example of meatloaf, that it wouldn't be a sin because the sin is the thought.
Yeah, but if the
what's in
meatloaf
your
looks
head.
like a vagina, then sure.
I
I would.
Isn't
I
that,
think-
isn't that a
what if you-
nickname for a vagina?
what if you like fucking meatloaf?
the meatloaf.
See, man.
That's okay. God,
I mean, I think,
goddamn
wow,
religion.
That's,
See,
that
I
sounds
have-
pretty liberal from it was a Christian.
that
Yeah,
doesn't sound liberal at all. It sounds
Yeah.
like such bullshit.
I have.
Well, it's total
you-
bullshit,
Can-
obviously.
if you can jack off and think of a filing cabinet,
yeah. I think it was as long as there was no impure thought in your head, then the physical act
There's
of you
nothing-
ejaculating was not necessarily a sin.
oh, God, I love
Yeah.
taxes.
Right, yeah.
Like, what is
Yeah.
that?
no, that would probably be a sin because
No,
it's-
and that's
you're
going to make you. You're
fantasizing
going to make
about
you
something.
a serial killer if you think like that.
It's just like
Complete.
and then you go on. I mean, you're yeah. I mean,
I took
it's
my
ridiculous.
medicine.
It's just a machine.
Yeah.
Man, I thought about scarves that time.
Jizz machine.
I don't like them.
That did a little better. I am not going to do that again. That was.
God, I love
I
cigars.
sinned.
Uh-oh.
I just sinned.
Yeah,
Oh,
right.
boy.
I've sinned 5 times today already. Well, that story that Colin just told, after Joe's stories, it's like, I didn't think I could have anything to trump that. That's pretty crazy. But I too went to a.
Did you finger bang your
a
teacher?
Private. No. I was young and innocent in high school.
Okay, yeah.
I didn't corrupt myself
It
until
wasn't
later.
until after high school.
Yeah, that's when it's supposed to happen though in
Yes.
college. But I remember my senior year. It was part of the curriculum of this private school that I went to take what they called marriage and family, and so it was like the teacher was giving this class for, I think it was like the last 6 months or the first 6 months, whatever, the 1 year, they broke the class up into 2 different groups. And so we get all through this class, and the school year's just about ending, and it's just the last class of this marriage and family. And we'd been talking about sex and relationships the last week out of this booklet, this guide that he used. And the last 10 minutes of class, he says, all right, I've got a little group, just a little assignment that I want to do. And he goes on to explain, he says, I want you guys to get out a little piece of paper, and I want you to write down either yes or no if you're still a virgin. And I immediately,
Jeez.
I remember thinking to myself, what fucking business is it of anybody's,
Another question that would
especially
get a teacher at my school
faculty,
fired immediately.
Wow.
And it was I want you to do
Oh, they
this.
would've.
But I think at the time,
Did you have to turn it in?
as students, yeah, and we had to hand it to him.
Was he gonna mail them
He
to
got
God?
to read them. We had our
Did you have to- your name was on it
We had
and
our
everything?
name on it. Yeah.
Really?
And so I
Was he looking for
at
the
the time
experienced ones?
at the time I didn't right.
He's
Yeah,
like,
singling them out like. But
Tammy, Jennifer,
okay, but
and
see,
Brittany, I'm going to need you to
here's-
stay after class.
not only right, yeah. Not only
you
was
have dick tension.
Not only was this what to me. Not only did
So
I
do
think
I.
this was bullshit, but he read them off after class, and at the end of the 10 minutes,
What?
he's
He
he's
read
writing
them off?
No. He read them.
Mike Davis
read them
is
to
a virgin.
himself.
Oh,
He read
Oh,
he
okay,
read them
okay,
to himself.
sorry.
Didn't make any
It's like
comments,
Mike
anything
Davis,
like that.
virgin.
Yeah. Well, I was at the time, but he
Get out of the way,
read them.
Get out of the road,
And so-
virgin!
right before we leave for class, one of the guys goes, so Mr. So-and-so, I mean, what do you think?
What's the point
after
of
going
that?
over there? And his comment was, some of you, I'm not surprised of just like, yeah, you guys are good Christian God followers. He said it in that way, and then he said in others, I knew it.
Oh shit!
And that was it. And it was just like this condemning. He said it in such a way that it was just like, you're all gonna
Heathens.
burn
Real
in hell. And
Christian.
just,
Nice,
yeah.
What grade
nice
was
job
this again, Mike?
judging.
We were seniors.
Seniors,
okay.
Seniors in high school.
And was
Damn,
this
dude.
was this a brother or a pastor or a
no,
priest
this was the shop teacher
oh wow
who also did.
Yeah, it's
who
always the
also did
weirdo
marriage and
that's like
family.
in charge of sex.
Yeah.
It's like, I teach dodgeball and fucking, I don't know, pottery.
Yeah.
And then sex ed. Those are my 3.
Yeah,
I'm
and
like,
I
wow,
don't
nice
know-
trifecta.
Yeah.
I don't know if he was just like unhappy at home. I mean, the guy, throughout the entire class had been somewhat candid in like, I've been married for X amount of years. I love my wife, and I got a vasectomy after we had our last kid because I was done. And he's like, let me tell you, that just opens up all these options. It's anytime, anywhere. And just kind of alluding to that he was happy, but I mean, she came to visit a couple of times, and I saw her and was like, my first thought in seeing her was, well, God, he must really love her, because the physical attraction thing, just I don't see how that could have possibly been there.
Right.
But
wheeled in
that's
with
not
her gravy
what.
IV.
Yeah, that's not what a marriage is solely based on. I
Sure.
understand
Of
that.
course.
But at the same time, it's like, well, then, why would you ask something like that? And
that's
so
totally
weird.
so wrong.
and I just I remember thinking
Wow.
that was bullshit.
Some of that stuff, man, when you start mixing religion in, whoever's religious, God bless you, literally. But some of that stuff, when I hear that, I'm just like, man, that doesn't seem the right way to approach things.
No, not at all.
I feel like a lot of those things kind of attack I don't know, the innocence and like attacks the soul as opposed to like really teach.
Right.
You know, it's like I'm gonna make you feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
As opposed to educated.
Yeah.
Oh,
Or even guilty.
Oh yeah.
Well, we had, and I know you remember this, Joe. The sisters in De La Salle were fucking ruthless.
Oh yeah.
And
they would go right into the boys' bathroom.
Condemned the shit out of you.
Oh yeah. So guys,
This is a Catholic junior high.
Yeah, basically
elementary,
junior
1
high.
through 8.
Well, I mean, guys would be running from the yard duties and run into the men's bathroom because they thought there was sanctity because they were women and they would just walk right in.
Asylum.
So everyone would be like peeing and then just smash against the porcelain, and you're like, I just got so many weird diseases. I'm
That's
sure.
gross.
Yeah, so everyone
and
would
weird
just
and wrong.
Yeah. Sister Patricia was the worst.
Yeah, she was
a psychopath,
terrible.
dude. She didn't care. Like, yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, I mean this wasn't like old
She
school
was a
where
bully.
She was. She bullied people big time. Yeah.
An old bitch.
I was always good, but I mean, what sucked is the few times that like
The fear.
Yeah, the few
There was
times
fear.
I was always scared. And this one time I was throwing a piece of cheese, and she told everyone I was throwing rocks, and I got detention. It was one of those circular cheeses that you peel off, and
Right,
then-
yeah.
Oh, the
and it was
Baby Bell,
spinning.
like-
It was spinning like a frisbee, so you could throw it so far. Do you remember this?
I don't remember
Oh
that
my
instance.
God.
No.
Those
So-
the moo cow ones.
Yeah,
right?
and I was
The red
throwing. I was
wax.
throwing it like far.
Baby Bell
Looks like
cheese.
Pac-Man after. Yeah.
My mom would never give me delicious cheeses. I got like wheat bread and fucking it was like all. So I found this. I'm like, I'm not gonna eat this. So we started throwing it. And she told everyone I was throwing rocks. I got detention. Yeah, and she made it such a spectacle because
What a bitch.
Yeah,
Oh,
she
yeah.
was horrible.
she was horrible.
She was
Wow.
really bad.
horrible.
Wow.
Yeah, she needed to get laid.
Was she super old then?
Yeah.
I mean,
She was probably in her
she
70s.
felt no. I think she was in her 60s when we were
Okay.
there, maybe 50s.
Remember?
But she.
Oh.
And that fucking double
Oh yeah,
chin
when
was,
she'd
like,
get all
so
free, she'd start
flabby,
shaking, and like 15 shins were just laughing underneath
So-
her
so-
mouth.
Do you think since this was some time ago that now, on this date, presently
bitch is
she's
dead.
she's probably dead?
That bitch is dead.
You think so?
Then you know what? You guys win.
I think so.
Then you guys
Maybe.
win.
That was
she's dead.
That's like 20 years ago.
Yeah,
I would guess she could
Or
be
close,
alive.
yeah.
she'll
I
be
don't
alive
know
if she
about
was in
that.
her 50s. She's probably 70 or 80.
I kind of hope that bitch is dead though.
Wow. Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
I mean, I
to
don't
say.
hope she's dead.
I don't
but
hope
she's,
anyone's dead.
She's probably
but
dead, and
I don't wish ill on
care.
anyone, but that bitch.
That bitch, I do. Yeah, that's
No, I
different.
know.
So yeah, it's
Yeah.
funny you bring that up. That's funny you bring that up.
I'm disappointed. I'm not finding a particular story in my curriculum
That's okay.
that I can find. But I know that I did find out later in high school that there was a particular teacher that was, a favorite, amongst the
amongst the students.
student body.
Okay.
That he was banging some of the
He liked-
student body.
he
He
liked
liked
the
the
student
students'
body.
bodies.
Oh wow.
Yeah, yeah.
I went through that too.
Yeah,
Actually,
and I was
Really?
like, wow.
yeah, I was
And
fucking
again,
teachers.
it's those
No,
people
I'm
that
kidding.
I was pretty.
I think we had a teacher like that at our school. At least he was old. This was like elementary, junior high, and he was a high school teacher at the time. I never had him as a teacher, but I think he might have been into some of that stuff. Like he was
God, wow.
he was kind of like the cool teacher too. Like everybody loved him and everything like
Well,
that.
Of course
but-
he was.
Yeah,
He
of course.
eventually got-
That's the only way you can get him towards your windowless van.
Yeah, I think he eventually got fired for
One that has
possibly
free,
some of the same
free
stuff.
candy spray painted on the side of it.
I remember.
Seems legit. Is
yeah,
that
yeah, hey,
meme?
good.
Is
Yeah.
that, it's like seems legit.
I had a coach that was teaching me discus and shot put and actually pole vault in high school. That all of a sudden, the dean was walking, or the principal was walking across.
Pole vault.
Was walking across the field to talk to us, and
Sexual.
she said, "Listen, your coach was involved with one of the people on the track team, and he is no longer with us. Like, we killed him."
He's no longer with us.
So
On this
I
earth.
realized right away that sounds like he's dead. So yeah, I blew him away.
He vaulted his pole right into one of the
So-
students.
Let's
Yeah.
discuss this. I was like, oh, I get it. It's a discus joke. So, it was a weird situation because I was a senior and I was ready to go really far and I had no coach. And I was the only one besides one other guy that got points on our track team. Our track team sucked.
Wow.
Yeah. It was like 5,000 to 4.
Jesus.
And I just high-fived the one other guy that got 1 point. I'm like, great job. Fucking dipshits.
Damn.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of doing stuff and getting in trouble or possibly getting in trouble,
Are you going towards the question?
what Lauren was at.
So my
Brought
girlfriend,
up.
yeah, I
A
asked her.
long-time contributor.
Yeah.
And very, very, very good friend of the show.
Yes, absolutely. Very friendly.
And our local beer supplier.
Yeah, that's true. Love her to death. I asked her, it's Saturday. We hadn't really had an opportunity to really get some questions, so why don't you think of a question? So she said, have you ever been in a situation where if you got caught, you would have been in a lot of trouble? And we asked, all right, elaborate. Would this be with the law or with your parents? She said with your parents.
Yeah, well, I think she said
personally
younger. I don't know that. I mean, I think she was going more towards like under high school age.
Yeah.
Probably stuff you would.
I got that.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of went there, but I don't know. But it turned out she kind of meant that also, right?
I mean, the one time that I think is, the big one for me was definitely outside of high school. I remember being at a party, and we were all drinking.
Yeah.
And everyone was out of drinks and out of cigarettes and out of all that stuff.
It happens.
And I was like, you know what? I have a connection. And I had just stopped working at a grocery store. And I had friends that worked there in night crew. And I used to work night crew.
I remember
So we drove over to this place of business, and I knocked on the door because they were closed, and the buddy that I knew walked up, and I said, let me in. And so he opened the door because this was fresh. I was gone maybe a week. And I said, hey, do you remember me being here? He's like, absolutely not. And we just got cartons of cigarettes, beer, handles of liquor.
Shit, just free?
We just were running. It was three of us just running in.
It
and
was
just,
supermarket sweep.
It was just clearing. It was just clearing this little section. Yeah, and I mean, you know, I don't think it would have been like a felony charge by any means, but it was enough to
Really?
repower. It sounds like it, sure. But no,
I mean, I worked at the same place of business.
No,
at the
not
same-
this one.
Oh, this is a
This is
different
a different one.
Oh,
Yeah.
Did they
wow.
bring you in on a fucking like mantle? Like did they carry you
Oh,
on their
yeah.
shoulders?
I mean, you
Like,
come back to a
and
party.
had two
You come back to a
1.75s,
party,
like,
and
yeah.
everyone has like 2 cartons of cigarettes and like a handle and a case of beer. Yeah, you're a hero.
Who ordered that one thing? Because I brought 25.
I mean, obviously, we weren't just like had this like chain of people just tossing stuff. We had like
bucket brigade?
We had 4 minutes.
Joe needs booze.
It was like that type thing. It's
Yeah.
like there's obviously other people there. We had to hustle, but if we got caught, it would have been
Yeah.
would have been probably some jail time and huge fines and all that stuff. Yeah.
A lot of firings.
Idiots. We
a lot
were
of
idiots.
firings.
Yeah. So that was pretty hardcore. Yeah, that was pretty hardcore.
Wow.
Yeah, there was an instance when I was 4th grade, I think it was.
Starting
4th grade.
early.
Well, yeah. I never really did. I mean, this is about as bad as I got. But me and 2 other people had hatched a plan to run away from home. And
All right.
2 of us actually got out. Like, I got on my bike and started riding and left and probably got, I don't know, a few miles away from home before turning back.
Right.
And
Doesn't take long.
yeah, the other guy, I think he had got not very far either before turning back or something. I don't remember exactly what happened with him. And then the girl that was involved in the plot, she goes and tells her parents.
Jeez.
Yeah. So the next day, me and the guy that was in my class, Bobby, we got pulled into the principal's office, and she talked to us or whatever, and she was like, she's like, so a little birdie told me that you guys had hatched a plan, blah blah blah, and went through the whole thing and got in trouble and told our parents and everything like that.
Wow, what kind of lesson is that?
Why would you get in trouble for something like that though? Because I did the same thing. You
Yeah.
know, my mom wouldn't let me have dessert one night or something like that. I was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
fuck this, I'm out.
Oh no, I mean I didn't.
Fudge this though at that
I did.
age. Yeah,
I don't remember there being any serious punishment either at school or at home.
just
but,
more
like,
inquiry, but that's just weird. It's like
Yeah.
Big Brother.
Yeah, we're like, we
Right?
thought we were going to run away, and our big plan was to go and live in Toys R Us.
Oh, hell yeah. Well, why not?
Whose plan was that not?
And just-
it was like everyone
Just
had
hide
that
out
plan.
until
guys
everybody
hatched a
left
very
for the
solid
day, and then
plan.
we'd go out and then just
gonna
play
play-
with all the toys
Play
all
the
night
Sonic
long.
the Hedgehog demo all night.
all night. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, my reading material was the Toys R Us catalog,
Right.
and the underwear models from Macy's or whatever.
Actually, the reading material from the Toys R Us circulars was what I used to masturbate to.
Well,
Because
you know what? Don't feel bad about
It was
that.
a sin otherwise. Yeah, that's why I did that.
Yeah, it's a sin. I don't have all these toys. Yeah.
Thank you, Jeffrey. Thank you.
Yes. I love giraffes.
I also remember I stole from my mom's purse coins for Street Fighter.
Well, okay, see.
So I used to always go to the local slot cars, and I was stealing, any change I could get to play Street Fighter.
was that in Moore Park?
No.
Slot
This
car-
was in Simi Valley.
Okay.
Is that at that fucking convenience store?
There was the convenience
That
store,
had those
but
like sour
that was
patch
sick.
strips.
But
no,
there was-
yeah,
but this-
those were
this
so
was
good.
a-
That's where I met my buddy Paul. This was later in life when we got more serious, and there was a championship edition over at Slot Car Races. So we'd ride
Oh,
our
I
bikes
remember
over there.
slot car races.
Yeah, so I remember, and this is the worst part because my mom knew. So my mom in the car goes, "Hey, I noticed there's
Joe."
a lot of coins that are missing from my purse." And of course, I'm an idiot and I'm young and I'm like, "Oh, that's so weird. I mean, it could be anything." And I'm just like talking my ass off.
it is,
Oh my
Mom?
gosh! I mean, geez, maybe there's a hole in your purse,
We
or
should
was there a
investigate
fire?
this
God,
immediately.
we need to get more security. Anyways, it wasn't me. And she's like, she
Who would
knew.
do such a
She
thing?
knew, and I'm such an idiot for doing that. Such an idiot. But I just remember that car ride where she's just like asking me these questions, and I just gave her all the information she needed.
I
So
remember
As soon
something
as you
like,
opened your mouth, she
yeah,
knew.
she's like, "You stupid
I remember
idiot."
there was a time that I went to Costco with a buddy of mine and his mom when this was earlier elementary school, and we had spotted the like giant boxes of Airheads, like just the industrial size boxes, and I remember we basically like sat there just like looking at it and like wanted to just like cut the film at the top and
Just take it.
slip in,
Yeah,
and we eventually
just take it,
did.
you.
We like both reached in and grabbed a couple and put them in our pockets, and get into the car, and she ends up. I guess she ended up buying a box,
Oh, shit.
and we had no idea that she was buying a box, and we pulled them out of our pockets. She's like, "Did you open the box already?" We're like,
Oh, so you stole them first, and then she ended up buying a box, and you're
yeah,
like, fuck.
yeah. We just went through all this fucking turmoil to try to steal a couple Airheads out of
I
this
wonder
thing.
if she did that just to spite you guys because she saw you idiots
hon-
doing it.
It's possible, but I'm pretty sure nobody knew until
Yeah,
we
you did a
pulled
good
them out of
job.
our pockets later,
Wow.
and she was like, "Did you?"
With that
crack
much
open
eyeballing.
already?" And we're like, "Oh, no."
You cased the
what?"
joint a few times. It sounds like.
Yeah, no, we did. There was some planning going into
Wow.
a very
Wow.
simple operation.
I will say this:
Just to
I'm
get some
thankful.
Airheads.
I'm thankful because of all all the things I've done, like stupid things and whatnot. I never went too far,
Right.
but I feel really well adjusted now because of it. I
Yeah.
do.
Sure.
I do. Like, I'm ethical. I would never do that now.
Oh, yeah,
Right,
on both
right.
sides of the
Yeah,
spectrum.
I feel like I've become a better person because I was an idiot when, it didn't really count.
Yeah.
I remember two different stories. Just
Give me the second one.
Things that we never thought about while we were doing it. But I had a friend named Sean, and we had known each other since junior high. And so this is actually first year of college, and he got super into golf and just loved everything about it. And in the city where we lived, there was this golf course, and it had a little driving range. And at the time, my first car was a four-wheel drive, an old Nissan, pickup. And he got this bright idea because he knew a back way onto the driving range to go and steal these golf balls. Just pick up a shit ton of them. And so, he told me about it. And at the time, I was like, that plan is so genius. I don't know why I didn't come up with it before. And, of course, because it was my truck, he needed me to help him out with it because this back road, it's like you'd have to go off-road, up a bunch of hills, down, through some, like, back residential areas and then physically onto like the part of the driving range where like they've got the netting in the back to to protect it from any possible potential damage to the homes that were there. And God, I think we probably did that 4 or 5 times where I would it'd be I think 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. I would have, hey mom, I'm going to spend the night at Joe's. We're just going to hang out, play some SNES, some Street Fighter or whatever. And then we would wait for his parents to fall asleep. I'd go outside. We'd push my truck. We'd both get in. I'd put it in neutral. He'd push my truck down the street, and then I'd turn it on so nobody would hear.
Of course.
And we would drive to the point where we had to pull off road, and then I would turn my headlights off. And he would stick his head out the window, guiding me, because we can't see shit. I'm driving off-road. I don't know where the fuck I'm going. He's like, yeah, a little bit of left, a little bit of this, no, too far. And we eventually made our way to the driving range. And I had my truck on this driving range, just not even thinking, like, if we got caught by some sort of night security, what the fuck am I going to do? And we get out, and for 20 minutes, we'd just be picking up these golf balls that hadn't been picked up.
How exciting was that?
Dude, it was such
How
a rush.
great is that?
It was so awesome.
Yeah.
I was laughing. I was giddy.
Yeah.
And
I feel like that's so important because
Yeah.
I've done a lot of those things.
Yeah, and we picked up a shit ton of them, filled, just like half a trash bag full. And then we'd take him back to his house. We'd wake up the next morning, and he'd grab him, and we'd go across the street. He used to live across from this huge dirt lot, and he'd set up a tee, and we'd just be fucking shanking balls for the next 2 hours. And his dad came out once. He's like, where are you guys getting all these balls? He's like, oh, we take them from he actually told his dad. His dad's like, you guys better fucking be careful because that is stealing, and the cops will not, they will not like the story.
Wow. That's a cool
but I
story. I
remember
like
that.
that.
Yeah,
I
and
feel like that's a growing story. That's one of those things where it's like,
It's something I will never forget. I think it actually bonded us
sure.
pretty close together as well because, it's just like something that we share.
So your type of person is the reason that when I worked at a country club, we had to be so meticulous about making sure to get almost all the golf balls off the range every night.
Maybe.
That was like their
he's the one
cited
that
reason.
helped.
Maybe.
He's the one that helped create those cars that go and vacuum them up. Maybe you
Well, no,
helped.
I mean, they had
He
one.
created jobs.
It was just
Yeah,
like, I
you
think-
created jobs.
Yeah, by the end of the night,
Jacobs.
Was it a public course?
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's public
because usually
course.
public courses I know working at the private country club, like they're like you pretty much had to get almost every ball
Right.
every night.
Right.
Like I know public courses, they're just like
a little bit
get
more
them when we need
relaxed.
them.
Yeah. Yeah, well, we got them when they didn't need them.
That's great.
And we did that. And then, God, I know I said I had 2 stories, but I can't think of the second one that I had.
That's fine. Does anyone else have some stories to share?
I mean, there's definitely some things
I know.
I'd love to
I know
jump
Mike
into. I
does.
don't know if I'm
You want to? That's fine if you're not comfortable because it is it's revealing.
I wonder if there's a statute
of
Yeah, I was
limitations
gonna
is
say a
passed on
statute. I was a serious vandal. Bad. I was a
Really?
bad
Really?
vandal. Yeah, I would say.
I remember you say that, and that reminds me of my second story.
Well, I mean,
I lit things on fire. That's what Mike's gonna say. I burned
No,
so many motherfuckers
We
down.
blew up so many cats.
no, but
Ugh.
I mean, the level of destruction is probably in the hundreds of thousands, maybe.
Of dollars?
So there was just
He pleads the fifth.
There was
Pesos, hundreds of thousands of pesos.
But like Joe said, I mean, I'm such
Did you knock off mailboxes?
No, I mean like housing developments. They're just going
Okay.
up. They're framed out. They put the windows in.
And then you go and make sure there weren't any windows anymore.
Dozens of homes.
Wow.
Every window broken.
Really?
Every window broken. Homes in the neighborhood that were on the market that nobody was living in, broke in, and just fucking leveled those fucking places.
Really?
I mean, have you ever jumped kick through a wall? A drywall?
No.
You can do it.
Wait, have you?
Maybe.
Okay, now let me ask you a question, Michael. In being a potential future homeowner, okay, let's say you and your wife, you buy a home and maybe some odd years down the road, you guys come home and you find
Oh man.
something in disarray or just rocks through the windows, would at that point, would you, after the
Karma?
initial reaction of being like, fuck, I just can't. Okay.
Well,
I get
yeah.
it.
You know what I
Okay.
worry about?
Okay, I get it.
I had
I
it
worry
coming.
about my son. I worry about my son because I never got caught. But kids do this kind of shit. Maybe not to the degree that I did. Some are more, some are less. But
Yeah.
I was pretty bad. I was pretty bad, and I sincerely regret it. But I worry about my son.
Yeah,
I don't
you know,
worry about my daughter.
Maybe
I
they're
don't
as
worry
good
about her
as
in that
criminals
respect.
as we are.
But you know what's interesting is you'd be surprised at the very small amount of pressure that it takes to completely shatter a porcelain toilet wall. You can have a gravity will
Just like,
almost break it.
ding.
Take a hammer and just hold it over a toilet bowl, and then let gravity kind of just guide your arm, and it will practically shatter the bowl.
God, you guys were assholes.
Oh man, it was bad.
But I mean, these are homes no one's bought yet, right? It's like the track homes, like that.
The
are
contractors must have loved you, though.
I probably.
Well,
yeah.
we have to order
You know what's
$6,000.
I'll tell you a funny story that goes along with this. Is
every window broken.
There was a rash of fucking destruction in the neighborhood, right? So, I guess they had somebody, like
Security guard?
Yeah, somebody
Sure.
watching, and
You killed him.
he wasn't there whenever we were doing what we were doing this particular occasion, but he came. Or somebody came.
That's weird.
That's
And
really
we were
weird.
But that wasn't a sin because he was
Yeah,
just thinking about robbery.
Right.
It did taste like mint.
We
though.
were inside of the they have that bungalow that they park like at a new
Yeah.
development
the
or whatever.
contractor's office.
We got into that.
The foreman's
and
room.
we
Oh,
were
Jesus
we were
Christ.
fucking wrecking it. And you know what's hilarious is there was like a 5-gallon like water drum, and I fucking chucked that through a window, and it broke the window, but the blinds prevented it from going completely through. So it was like somebody's like fucking body was like being thrown through it. It was like, but you could see it. So
Yeah.
he noticed that, and he stopped us, and we had the foresight of we were just coming out, and he was coming on the scene. And I saw him, and being the fucking devious mind that I was like, oh my God, hey, some kids were just here and they were fucking destroying this. Did you see him? And he's like, wait, wait, you didn't do this? He's like, no, they ran that way. You better go get him. And he just bailed. He went looking for him.
God.
Great
and then
job.
did you go
Wow.
back in and continue?
No.
And you went back in. They pulled the filing cabinet out with all the important documents. Boring.
You just made me think of so many bad things I've done.
Yeah.
Honestly, and one of them was we used to go on trash day, drive around and grab trash cans,
Sons of
drive as
bitches.
fast as we could, and bash them into mailboxes.
It was like two
Jeez.
birds.
I mean, we would yell, yeah, and it was bad. And
Yeah.
there was certain ones where it's like, if the mailbox looked like it was heavy duty, we do like a U-turn, so you
Yeah.
get that inertia, and then do it. And some of it would just be grass. So it would be like 400 pounds of grass that you just can't
God.
hold on to. And yeah, we did that.
Not
for
that
a
you
while.
were trying to
Oh my God,
for at least
we are
a-
so
any
fucking
length of
stupid.
time.
That's a great story, though.
Nah, I mean,
It's a great story.
I remember
it's really dumb.
my buddy lived across
So
from
dumb.
these stables in Chatsworth, and they were abandoned. And we snuck in there one night and we're walking around. We thought it was haunted. I mean, there was some fucking weird shit going on in there. But we went into the little house that was on the lot, and empty. Like people had already been in there, whatever.
Meth heads.
And
That's the weird shit.
I
Blue stuff.
think we busted through one of the walls because we thought there was like a secret room on the other side, because we're like, it doesn't add up with what we see outside and what's inside, and there was nothing back there.
It's a gateway to
Oh my
hell.
God,
But there
it's
was-
a secret room. No, it's the backyard.
Yeah, but there was one room. I
It's
remember
stored shit.
It's the portal to Satan's backyard.
we walked into one room and fucking all over the wall were red handprints.
What?
Yeah.
No
and fucking we're
shit.
like, what the fuck is going on? But then
God.
eventually we realized like somebody had just like done
Preschooler
that with
type
like
thing.
a paint. Yeah, I don't know if it was the people that lived there or if somebody had come in afterwards and
that's
done that.
still pretty weird.
But
though.
yeah, walking in and immediately seeing red handprints, I was like, oh shit.
Shit your pants and
And we're like,
Let's
no, these
kick
are a little
hole
too
into
deliberate.
another wall
Yeah.
and get the fuck out of
Yeah.
here.
Let's break some more
so
shit
we
and then
kicked
go.
our way out of there.
Yeah. We had to get out somehow.
Wow, that's crazy, man. Yeah, lots of stupid stuff. I
Yeah.
mean,
it's so dumb.
and like I said, I really feel like you kind of need to go through those adventures and whatnot. Because now I think about it and I'm like, I just want to be a good citizen.
Right.
You know, I just want to do the right thing.
yeah.
All the systems make sense to me.
Yeah.
Right.
Some are questionable for the but for the most part, I feel like
They're
it's-
all in place
It's part
for
of
a
society,
reason.
and I get
Yeah.
it. It took a lot of being a real fucking idiot to get there. You know.
Yeah.
It took me pissing into a hand soap dispenser at a billiards place so that everyone that washed their hands with my piss. You know,
It's
I mean,
terrible.
and
It's like in that moment as you're doing it, you're like,
Yeah.
what the fuck am I doing? This
yeah,
is
it usually starts off
horrible.
with, man, I'm buzzed. And
Mm-hmm.
then you do that, and then you're like, that wasn't good.
Was that
Right.
that? Was that the place in Siemens?
Place
Like
of
that?
business? No. No, it's a different place. But just stupid shit. Like, I think about that now, and I'm like, man, my early teens or 20s I was a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
I was an idiot.
Yeah.
You were. You really were.
I was.
I think we all were.
I was.
You know,
No, of
I
course,
was.
of course.
I mean,
I was.
I obviously various scales of, idiocracy, but yeah.
Sure.
Anyways, yeah, good stories. Anyone else?
I was gonna say I just remembered that same lot when they had started construction, torn everything down. One 4th of July, we took the tube we were shooting bottle rockets with, and we picked it up and put it on our shoulder like a fucking bazooka launcher, and we started shooting bottle rockets into the porta potties
jeez.
they had there for the construction workers. That was pretty fun.
No, I bet. That
There
sounds
were
awesome.
There were a couple of those suckers that misfired and shot out backwards.
Whoa.
And went whizzed by our heads
Into
and shit
the
like
parking
that.
lot.
Yeah, that was a fun night.
Wow.
I bet. That's great. So
Sorry,
you know what?
can I say one more thing? Actually, with touching on the toilet bowl.
Okay, please.
You had to shit in the bowl first, and then.
And then
God, really?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, Michael.
I mean,
Why would you do it? Why would you
would
do
you
it?
honestly leave the neighborhood to take a shit? Come on, Mike.
You got to take
there's
a
all these
shit. You got to take
pristine
a shit.
toilets there.
When you gotta go, you gotta go.
Wow.
You got to shit in the sink. You got to shit in the...
So obviously these are undeveloped homes. I mean, there was no TP available, right? Well, what were you guys doing?
They were using drywall. Just wiping their ass with the drywall that they fucking.
kick me off a piece of that drywall, would you? I gotta wipe my
Gonna have
ass.
a case of itchy ass for a little while.
Oh,
big deal.
yuck.
I guess.
I'm sure there was TP in the office bungalow.
worth it.
yeah. 5 gallons of water. You could just
Only
clean
thing
your
that
ass
was
up.
stolen.
Wow, that's crazy.
Oh,
so
man.
I think something that we should touch on episode 23
Yeah.
is, do we believe in ghosts and aliens? I want to talk about that.
That would be a great episode.
So I think that would be something we should look forward to, because right now
Where are we at?
we're on just the last few minutes.
well, I gotta tell you, that would be an episode that our longtime listeners, Alberto and
Yeah.
Andrew, would love.
Yeah, I want people to talk about it because I have very strict feelings about it that have not changed, and I'd love to share that. And I'm sure everyone is different.
I actually, to put a little teaser there, the house that I used to own for a little while, I actually firmly believe that it was haunted, and
Wow.
I will tell you why next week.
Sounds good, man.
Yeah,
So until then, I guess stay nerdy.
and stay dirty.
Stay dirty.
I like that. Anyways, thanks for listening. Send your questions to podcast@condograyskull.com. We haven't said that in a long time.
We haven't.
Hit us up on Facebook and Twitter, and send us those questions.
Tweet
That,
around here.
that email address needs to be dusted off. I don't.
I
It's
know,
gone, but
jeez. Well, we need to broadcast this
Should
again.
Should we do the sign off one more time since we continue talking?
Well, stay nerdy and
stay
Stay
flirty.
what?
Yeah.